recording. All right, welcome to this week's Coffee and Miracles. So I posted on 9/11 that I had a friend who I didn't know at the time had perished in one of the buildings in 9/11. I actually have more information about his situation. I did not know it was that difficult for his family. I thought he died immediately, and apparently he did not. But that aside, um, a lot of what I talk about is to look for the good things, to look for the miracles, even the small things. And I think I went on yesterday and I talked about sometimes you have an answer to prayer you never prayed. And sometimes the answer comes to a prayer you did pray, but it doesn't look anything like what you think. So there are lots of stories of people who were not killed at 9/11 for various reasons. And these really focus mostly on the towers, but there were other people that perished or that may have and did not in the other planes. But there was a head of a company who survived 9/11 because his son started kindergarten. So he went there. Another man was alive because it was his turn to bring donuts to work. He was there and was late. A woman was late because her alarm clock didn't go off. And so when she woke up, it had already happened. Another man had an auto accident. And so you think some of these things you think, oh, this is annoying, or this is awful, or I can't get to work. Something bad's going to happen because I'm not at work. In the moment, you think some of these things are really bad. But a lot of times our life is spared, or we've been spared a difficulty because another difficulty happened, but it's a bigger difficulty we were spared from. And a lot of times we know this, like right afterwards, these people knew this. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes only God knows. One of these days when I die and I get to talk to God, I'm going to ask him, what else have you saved me from that I didn't know about? Because he saved me from a lot. So there are things like this. One of them missed his bus. Another one had spilled food on her clothing, so she had to go change her clothes. Somebody's car would not start that day, so they never made it there. Somebody had to answer a phone call. One had a child. A child that was dawdling and they couldn't get him off to school. Another one couldn't get a taxi. I mean, these are all kinds of things. One had to stop at a drugstore to buy a Band-Aid. Little things like this. And these are inconveniences. Sometimes they're big things, like somebody who's in a car accident. That's not fun. I've been in car accidents. They're not fun. But it's amazing if we look at what were we spared because this happened? What good can come of these things? We have an amazing God who works in some incredible ways that we don't know because we're down here on earth dealing with all this stuff. So I wanted to share, I looked up some things and these were a little bit different. So, and pardon me, but I'm still trying to get used to the trifocals. So pardon my, but I just wanted to share some of these. This one, Holly, I think her name is Winter. I can't quite see. But yes. Her mom, she was supposed to be at the Twin Towers on that day. And she was taking time off to be with her friends. She was going to be traveling to the towers on that day, on that morning. And her mom said she wanted to come visit her. And she was not wanting her mom to do that because, number one, she had two friends that were in New York. She wanted to visit New York. I think she was from a different state. And her mom said, no, this is a good time. I really want to come right now, this time. And so she obeyed her mom and did not go to New York with her two friends. Unfortunately, her two friends did perish at 9/11. But her mom's insistence that she come visit her daughter at that time is what saved her. So then there's a vacation, another one, Brenda Christensen, she was in Southern California, and she never made it to a media tour she was supposed to go to at the Twin Towers. She decided to go on a vacation, similar, but I mean, on a vacation instead. She was supposed to be at the Twin Towers, but decided herself she was going to go on vacation and to New Orleans. And and so she missed that day. Yeah. Then we have another one, was just like the other one, running late. There were a lot of people who were running late and never actually made it until by the time they got there, or by the time they were done, whatever kept them late, they missed the whole thing. And so they were not there when this happened. There's another one who had car trouble, not in a car accident, but had car trouble that morning and never made it there. So these are things, if you're thinking about this, after the fact, when we know that this is what saved them from dying at 9/11, we think, oh, well, a little car trouble. But when you're in the middle of it, you don't know about the trouble you're being spared. You think, oh, this is so annoying. This is terrible. And this is why I bring you Coffee and Miracles, because I want you to start thinking about what good can come out of whatever bad situation you think you're in, or you are actually in. Some of these are terrible things. This woman, or guy, Greer Epstein, was an executive director at Morgan Stanley. He went out of the building to have a cigarette when it. And then there was another one. This is, and we've had layoffs in our family. My husband has been laid off a few times. This woman was laid off. I think her name is Laura Sorokoff Gilman. So she was working in the towers and was laid off. I think it was just days prior. On September 7th, she was laid off from her job. Now, this is, you no longer have an income, you are scared, you are trying to figure out financial things, and now you've got to find a job. And these are bad things. Some of these are really, devastating things that happen to people. Some of them are just inconveniences, but some of them were just financially possibly devastating, and all of those things don't trump your life. And so what I want us to do is to think about, and it's hard, I have trouble in the moment thinking, well, something good is going to come of this. Something good is bound to come of this. God is using all things for good. He does, but when we're in the middle of something, it's hard to see that. So I'm not saying it's easy, because I have trouble with it too, but if we look at those things, if we miss the elevator, if we are stuck in traffic, if we lose a job, if we have something happen and we've got to change our plans, whatever that is, if we think, because our first thought is, oh, this is annoying, oh, this is bad, oh, what am I going to do? Our second thought should be, how is God going to use this? How can I use this situation to propel me forward? A lot of times we have a step back before we have a step forward. Sometimes we have a big step back before we have a step forward, and maybe before we have a huge step forward. I've seen it in my life, and I bring you these things all the time, but these are things that happened at 9/11. That was big. That was huge. People lost their lives. People lost their loved ones, but good things happened that day too. And I think if we focus on the bad things, if we focus on the negative things, that's what we see. It's like that red car that you tell your kids to look for in the, when you're on a long car drive with your kids, trying to keep them occupied. If you're looking for the red car and the red car's bad, you're going to see the red car. If you're looking for the red car and the red car's good, you're going to see the red car. Either way, you're going to see what you're looking for. So there's tough things that happen, and I'm going to pray for you through those things. But I'm going to pray that you are propelled forward to do something that is positive, either for your life or for those around you. So for me, I've had a lot of things that could have taken me out. I've had cancer that could have, I mean, it was very aggressive cancer, and I didn't even have to go through chemo or anything like that. They caught it through a series of miracles, and there are other things that spared my life, and I am using my life to help other people. So the difficulty that I had with my energy level and gaining all my menopause weight, I am now using those things to propel me forward to help other people, propel them forward. So use what difficulty you're going through. And I have a friend who does this amazingly well. Her name is Ellen. And, shout out to Ellen. She is amazing. She's gone through so much, way more than me, way more than me. And she is just incredible. Her outlook about things, God is going to use that for something big for her and people around her. So that's what I invite you to do, and look for the miracles with your coffee tomorrow.